Hey, good evening, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV and this amazing special bonus edition that we got going on. Coming to you live. It's 8 p.m. Mountain Time, so a little different time period than we normally do. But we're excited. You don't get to wake up; you get to go to bed with us. But mentally, you're going to wake up. We got some awesome stuff for you. I'm so excited for this guest. Nick, will you introduce him?
Yeah, for sure. We got Bryon Smith on the line with us. And so he's a self-empowerment music artist, life coach, and inspirational speaker. He's from Lima, Ohio, but he's currently in California, which I'd rather be in California than Ohio right now, honestly. As he's evolved and matured along his journey, he's become inspired to create music that is more positive, empowering, and liberating. And I've been listening to your music all night. You know, it really is. It's inspiring. And so we're grateful to have you on the show. We're looking forward to sharing your story. So welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate being here on your platform, and just excited ever since just a few days ago you reached out to me, and I just appreciate your hospitality. And like I said, I ordered your book and I appreciate it.
I think it's awesome, man. Can you believe that? It's only a couple of days ago.
Yeah, the energy just already just flowing. Like I always say, the universe is a perfect orchestrator.
You know what's interesting is it really is. So I had a thought that morning to post about music that inspired me. And then I shared that, and other people were sharing their music that inspired them. And somebody said, "You need to meet this guy." And so I listened. So I heard your song, and I didn't realize it was you. I listened to this song. I'm like, man, that's good. That's catchy. And it was positive. And I had no idea that anybody might know you. I thought you were some artist out there like killing it, you know, and you are. But you're like friends with one of our followers, our tribe. And she's like, you need to connect with this guy. I mean, that following that inspiration that the universe brings it to you, absolutely true. Like that's how we met is through just that feeling of, man, music's really going to hit me today. And then here you come.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no coincidence. I mean, this is my intention when I create the music, is to attract, positive things and like-minded people and people that are looking to reach towards their higher selves, and just everything. It's just amazing. The journey's amazing. And the music is a universal language in itself. So
for sure. Yeah. It's something you can feel, you know, it brings out the emotions in people. And I love that. So you good going into your history a little bit?
Let's do it.
We go back in time.
Let's go back. Let's rewind.
Yeah. What was it like growing up for you? What was childhood like?
My childhood, I basically grew up in a single parent family home. Father wasn't around. A lot of people can probably relate to that, and a lot probably can't. But yeah, I grew up with the mom, with a single mother, and it was bittersweet. I would say it was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of good and bad. In my perspective, I would say my overall childhood, overall, I wouldn't regret. I don't regret it, and I wouldn't change it, because it has made me who I am today. And my mother was a very strong woman, you know, and she did the best she could with the level of consciousness that she had. And she taught us a lot about, taught me a lot. I'd say us, because I have a younger brother. It was my younger brother and I and her. But she taught me resourcefulness, strength, resilience, and creativity. I looked down because I didn't want to forget that.
Yeah.
And that she taught me that. There was also in a lot of love at the same time, but it was mixed.
Yeah.
Mixed with a lot of frustration as well. And a lot of activities that probably would be considered child abuse probably now, because I got the belt.
Yeah.
Back then. I don't hear much about that at these times, but I would get that. But there was a lot of frustration, because of the mindset and that she had, a lot of focusing on problems rather than solutions. But like I said, I'm not trying to put my put my mother down or anything like that. I'm just giving everybody a contrast. It was good and bad. There was love, there was embracing, and at the same time, there was other things. And we moved around a lot too. So it was hard for me to really create this bond with people. So I learned that right there taught me really to be self-sufficient at the same time. As far as negatively, it got lonely at times, and I had to start all over quite a bit. Yeah. So those were my journeys, but we were a close-knit family. She was heavily involved in putting us in activities and really sacrificing in regards to putting us first. And even when the resources weren't there, she made it happen for us to be involved in things. And I can remember one particular thing, my senior trip. She really didn't have the resources to send me on my senior trip to Hawaii, but she pulled it off somehow and was able to do it. And made a couple of phone calls, and they allowed her to do it in payments. And I just appreciate that. So, like I said, I don't regret anything, especially with where I am now and how I think now. I don't regret anything about it, and I don't focus on the bad. I focus on it in its entirety, and it created a well-rounded person.
Okay, so you're looking at the global picture of what occurred, right? Instead of feeling like how I hear it with parents, and upbringing is it usually just is what it is, right? For one, they're doing the best they can with what they know, and I think in most cases, if they knew better, they would do different, right? Absolutely. But never in the show do we want people to bag on their parents or their childhood. That's not what we try and create here. We just try and establish that everybody has a different start point in their life. And I look at some of the bouncing around, the moving around so much, sometimes the instability, right? The love that your mom had, and the belt. I got the belt as a kid. Oh. I remember putting magazines in my pants so it wouldn't hurt so bad, right?
I just learned to clench my butt cheeks really, really tight.
Yeah. But going back in time, that was the norm. That wasn't that seemed to be the norm at that time. It's not now by any means, but it definitely lays a foundation, right? A foundation for what you can become, and keep going. So, I mean, did you have naysayers? Was there? Did you doubt yourself along the way? Did you have a clear vision of where you were going?
Well, like I said, my upbringing was basically, her current level of consciousness at that time, and a lot of it was based on fear to start off. So I used to doubt myself a lot. A lot of it was fear and not focusing on the solution and not seeing myself where I wanted to be, but basically having these goals. I always had these goals, but just being afraid and thinking that things were set a certain way. Like, these people, they get this, these people, they get this. And it wasn't until later that I started realizing that, empowering myself to that I can take a little bit more control. But I had naysayers. I started off doing a more mainstream, negative gangster style of rap music. And I started out doing that.
How did you get started into the rap stuff?
That's how I started doing that. But I'm a avid fan of just music in general. Like I always tell people, I listen to stuff when I'm reading. I listen to like Beethoven and Sebastian Bach and Vivaldi and things like that. And people are, what? Yeah. So I listen. I'm a music connoisseur. So I've always liked music and instruments. I'm not a musician. My daughter now is learning to play the piano, and I'm so grateful for that we have the resources and are able to provide her that opportunity.
I got to pause you right there. You said you're not a musician.
No, I don't play.
Okay.
I'm an artist. I don't play. I'm an artist.
Is amazing.
I don't play instruments.
Yeah.
Yes. But what I was saying, I've always embraced music and had it in me to want to create music even before I started recording. But when I got serious about it, yes, I was doing the urban style
Yeah.
music. And as I've grown and evolved and start really looking into myself, I've wanted, like you said, to create a more positive and be more responsible and more aware of the message that I'm sending out there to people and wanting to uplift people.
Do you think that your outward message and your music reflected how you were feeling on the inside and it evolved with you? Do you think that was occurring? Do you know what I mean? Like your creations matched your interior.
Yes. Well, it was more so what I looked up to and what I thought was cool.
Okay.
It really wasn't really my life per se. All the destructive, violent, substance abuse style, womanizing style. Some of it was. I'm not going to totally let myself off the hook, but for the most part, it's what I thought was cool to talk about, and a lot of it was going on around me. But I thought, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to talk about. This is what people want to hear. Violence sells, controversy sells, and it still does. I mean, people do, but I can't let that. I can no longer allow that to dictate, the direction of my goals and my path as to what I feel that's cool commercially.
This is so if I were to put this into the book, in the story, when the main character was small, he's living among all the smalls, he's eating his pea soup, and I love somebody today posted #no more pea soup, I think is what they put, and an analogy of that is you just won't settle for that small living, and here you are trying to fit in with those around you in a way that you felt made sense, right? And it wasn't necessarily who you were on the inside, but you're just trying to fit into that culture, right?
Absolutely.
And there was a point where you had some form of awakening where you're like, there's got to be more. I would imagine that there was this point that you felt there was more for your life. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. And like you said, music is a very powerful force, and it's like it's basically affirmation. So
okay,
a lot of the lyrical content that I was putting out there was drawing certain things into my life. And I started to realize that. I don't know how my inner voice started to let me know that what you're speaking about is why you keep generating these unwanted events in your life. And I was fortunate enough where the universe was just showing me around me, all this destruction and death and incarceration, and it really didn't really hit me per se. It got close to me, and which I know that I had a higher purpose. It was letting me know, and I didn't want to ignore it any longer, because I felt like, how many chances am I going to get to just slide by without this being a direct hit me, directly.
Amazing. So your wake up call, what was it? Do you remember it?
I believe it was just it wasn't just one particular moment.
Yeah.
It was a series of things, but I started, just like a lot of people in the world, they're looking for, answers and happiness and someone to show them, how to be happier. And they look for happiness in material things over here. And they'll be happier when they get this job. They'll be happier when this happens, when they marry this person. And I just knew that all that was fleeting, that those just, okay, I got this, I got that. And I still wasn't happy in the inside. So I started doing a lot of soul searching and a lot of researching, and, and thank God for, the internet now. I have my own personal library, but I can just remember sitting one particular studio session that I was having with fellow artists at that time. And I could just remember the room during the session, the room just getting, it was noisy, but in my mind, I just saw myself almost outside of myself. I saw everything just got real quiet and dim. And it was like something was saying, what are you doing? Like, this isn't it. This is not what you need to do. And again, I'm not putting down the music because it led me to who I am today. I had to, they say to appreciate the light, you have to have darkness. To appreciate silence, you have to have noise. So the same with that. So, and a lot of times when people do create those, artists do create that type of music, they're telling the story genuinely from their heart for the most part, I think. But at the same time, there are those that just mimic and follow what they think is cool.
Right.
And there was some heartfelt lyrics in there mixed with what I thought was cool at the time. But at the same time, I was listening to these angry lyrics as I was writing them. And it was just a time where I was like, no more. I started to get away from that. Just after that.
Yeah. Good for you. So you really felt like, man, there's got to be more. Like, I'm excited for you to read the book, honestly, because you just described his awakenings. Like, there's got to be more. How come there's giants out there? Is that possible for me? And I hear that in your stories. There's got to be more for me than this. And so what happened from there? Like, yeah, go ahead. I cut you off.
I was just saying, and I just wanted to put something out there that would not only lift me up, but lift other people up, because people listen to it. And I wanted to take more responsibility for what I was projecting out there into the world and what I was allowing to represent me. Like, I thought to myself, is this what I want to represent? Is this the message that I want to continue to represent who I am? As an evolving person. As an evolving man, a soul.
Such an important question, right? Is this how I want to be represented, right? Like, and you have a decision to make, because everything we do it. Nobody is out there puppeteering our lives. I mean, some people have the view that they lose control, and I could see that. But you had this realization that no matter what was occurring in your world, you had a choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a choice. And like I said, a lot of people may find this hard to swallow, but I don't regret any of it, because going through these, I think I have come to the awareness that life is a series of levels. So that person you were at that particular moment is not the same person you are now. And even right now, you're different. And as you continue to go, and you just stay aware and just learn from those things.
Yeah.
And you can take the good and the bad, which you perceive as good and bad or bad, positive or negative, and just continue to just fine tune your life.
I like that.
Yeah, and appreciate things as well. So like I said, I don't regret, there's things that, of course, if I could do it all over again, I would do, maybe with the knowledge that I have now, I would do different things, of course. But at that time, with the level of consciousness at that level of consciousness I did what I was supposed to do at that particular time.
Yeah. Did you ever make big mistakes that you felt like took you back, and then what did you do from those? Like, where did you go from there? Did you ever have mistakes where you thought like, oh man, I'm not feeling very giant today?
Yeah, I've made big mistakes. Even in I can be honest with you with ways that I was dealing with my own, children, not being there for them, at that particular time, being more involved in having fun and ignoring and not being there like I should. And yeah, all I can do is grow from that and learn. But yeah, that took me back. That was some setbacks, and just I still have setbacks here and there. I consider myself a work in progress and a masterpiece simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that I'm learning to do now is just embrace the process of life. So I'm not struggling. I'm not struggling against things. I'm not. Of course, I have emotions, positive and negative emotions, but I'm able to observe observe those emotions and not attach myself to them. Like, I know that this happens. I might not feel that good today, and I don't look at that as being me. I just see, okay, these emotions flow in and through me, and these things happen, and these situations and experiences happen, and they're all for my highest good. They all are going to end up for my highest good, and that's how I look at life now.
I like that, because you're really separating yourself from the thing that's occurring. Like, that behavior or that experience is separate from who you are as a person. Like, your identity remains a masterpiece, right?
Yes.
The experience might be a setback or a work in progress, but the masterpiece is always the masterpiece. It's always in there. Leonardo da Vinci, I think in one of his sculptures, I don't think he finished it. It was a work in progress, and I think it's one of his most valuable pieces, if I'm correct in this. But it was carved. It was partially carved out of stone. It never got finished. It was incomplete. But it was a representation of the process that we all go through to find that masterpiece. Like, he took a rough piece of stone and he had to find the masterpiece within it by carving away all the parts that didn't work anymore. Like, what comes up as you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah, we take on these things. I mean, oftentimes, you know, who we become, it's from the influences that are around us, and you know, our mindsets and the way we talk and the styles and what we think is appropriate to wear. It's all these layers that we're taking on, but down to our bare essence, to our soul, we're masterpieces. It's just that we got to shed off those things that we've taken on, you know.
Yeah.
To know that, and that I believe life is that. It's constant, you know, shedding of these things that are not of the masterpiece. Well, they're all part of the masterpiece too. You know, they help create us here, who we are physically, you know.
Yeah, because in a way, some of those things do remain. You know, there's a residual effect, like that they still remain a part of us, but they no longer dictate our decisions. You know, I really love the idea that, well, number one, that you're an amazing artist, and I would say musician, but you say you're not a musician. You know, I love that. But here's why, is because I think people get hung up. If I only had this degree, or if I only had this title, then I could be this thing, whatever that thing is. And what you're saying is, I'm not a musician, but man, I write music. You know,
yes,
that's powerful.
Yes, because I mean, it's all perspective. I think I always looked at musicians as one that played instruments, and I look at artists as one that creates music. So
yeah.
In essence, a musician can be an artist and a musician, and so can an artist be one. But since I don't play any instruments myself, now my producer, Aries Bedgood, now he's an amazing musician, and he helps to cultivate and inspire my feelings. He creates this music, that these instrumentals, that I like to call blank canvases, that stimulate and cultivate thought within me, and then the universe takes over. And
okay, like, pause right there. Like, I got to grab these nuggets, man, as they come through. So this blank canvas by your friend is put up there. He's like, man, I created this panel for you, and you see it. And what I love about what you just said is that you don't go to Gear World and start trying to figure out how to paint that painting or create that art. You let the universe flow through you.
Absolutely. I consider myself as a conduit, and I just, you know, I get into this meditative state, if you will, and just this state of non-resistance, and just let the music just flow. And then usually a subject matter will pop into my head. And once I grasp that subject matter, like it could be forgiveness, or it could be just strength, or health. And once I get that, then everything else just starts to trickle down from it. You know, just, okay, this is an idea that that's congruent with that subject matter, and it just flows.
And you've got a way of doing that where it flows in a unique way. I mean, your way of letting it flow through is different from mine. I write books, or I coach, or I make videos, and yours is to, I think, make pretty awesome music. I was listening to it. I just want to get into the move of it, and the words are positive. There's nothing negative through your whole songs. I mean, I listen to them. I'm like, wow, I feel like I want to do more. And
thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad they're inspiring you, because that's how I operate. Like, I'm sure after I read your book, it's going to influence my mind in some way, or make an impression that,
yeah,
I'm going to do something that I normally wouldn't have, or write something that I normally wouldn't have had I not been exposed to your perspectives and testimonies.
You hit on something earlier about the different types of music you listen to. I read a research article that said that people that are narrow-minded prefer 1 to 2 types of music, one to 2 genres of music. They really narrow down their focus, and it reveals itself in their world. They're also narrow-minded in their world. And people who are more open-minded and open to ideas and thoughts and inspiration will listen to a broad spectrum of music. Like, they'll have music in every category.
Wow. And I didn't know that, but yeah.
That's been researched. And yeah, wow. I hear that in you, is you've got this open mind for the world of, maybe the world was a certain way when I started, but I have this vision that there's possibilities everywhere, in everything. There's inspiration in everything. And when we get to that space where it's like, now I know how the world works, and this is the way it works, and I'm going to do it my way. You only see one way. And when it gets hard, you can't see any other solutions because you only see one way. And what I hear in your story is you see all kinds of solutions, options, possibilities.
Well, I consider myself a teacher, but more importantly, a student. So I'm always listening, just like as you're talking. I'm not just hearing noise. I'm actually listening, like you just said, for nuggets and just the simplest, most simplistic things, that you say. I can gather something from it. I'm always, trying to learn. And you're right. As I've evolved, the world has opened up, and literally opened up, because now I speak with people from just various countries. I have friends in Ireland, in Australia, in Switzerland, in Netherlands that speak to me or reach out to me on a regular basis. And with the way that I was thinking before, there is no way that I would have drawn those people into my experience, that we wouldn't have had anything, our thought patterns or energies wouldn't. But as I'm working on myself and, projecting out, I'm attracting those with similar, goals and similar intentions and things of nature. We all have our different paths, but at the same time, you know what I mean? If you got businessmen talking business, they're going to attract other businessmen, and they're all going to have their circles, So I believe everything to do with inspiration and positivity and self-empowerment and motivation and just self-help. And I'm drawing, those people into my experience, and, and on various levels.
Apparently we were too, because Nick and you were like, boop.
Absolutely. And that's why I said I wasn't surprised that when he reached out to me, one of the first things he talked about me and how amazing my music was, but also letting me know that he was an author. And he didn't know that I'm basically, I don't really want to use the word sucker, but sucker for books. And I love reading. So he just mentioned the book to me, and I just went right and ordered it. I mean, I have quite a pretty extensive library. So
this is what it looks like when it comes to you.
Yeah, there it is right there, and it's going to be in my living room. In my room soon. So
it'll have Nick's signature on there. They'll write something fancy on it, I'm sure.
I can't wait to get it. I love books. I mean, I just get excited. I really do get excited when when I open that book, when it comes in the mail from Amazon or whatever, and I open and smell the pages. I mean, don't think I'm weird, but I love literature. I love it.
That's perfect. I mean, it shows in what you're creating. I mean, your world is shifting. It literally evolves. It's what you hit on about you attract people into your world that are like how you're being in the world. And so whatever you magnify, whatever, like if it were magnification, like a magnet, then you would be a certain type of magnet. You would attract other people that are either opposed to or like that, right? You'd attract more into the world of what you're putting out there. And so as soon as you shifted and started putting positivity out, you start picking up people that resonate with that and they come to you. It's not like you have to go out and get them. They hear you and they're attracted to you and they come in because there's something about your energy, right? That brings them in.
Yeah. At the same time, don't get me wrong. I'm not just sitting here. I'm being proactive and I'm putting my music out there and I'm speaking with people and helping people and getting knowledge from other people and engaging in dialogues and with people. But yeah, for the most part, people just, they find me. I find them, they find me. But it's an amazing and it used to be like really surprising, but now I look at it, and not to show any, element of conceit or I'm up here, but what I'm saying is it doesn't surprise me anymore. It's like, this is the way I'm intending for it to go. This is the way the universe is working with me and letting me know that I'm on the right path by the signs that I'm getting. So it doesn't surprise me. All these so-called serendipities and coincidences. That's what's supposed to happen. That's what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to be here talking to you.
Let's go down the rabbit hole there a little bit. Let's talk about synchronicity and these serendipity and these opportunities. I mean, I look at how we met, right? And I talked about it briefly in the show, is I followed a thought. And because I followed that thought, it opened the conversation for somebody else to follow that thought, which triggered us being on this show today. That show wouldn't have happened had I not followed that thought.
Yes. I believe it was, I remember her name now. Her message just popped up. Shauna Lee.
Shauna Lee, yep.
Yeah. And I forgot her last name,
McDonough. I think it's McDonough.
Yeah. And hi, Shauna Lee. I appreciate that. I appreciate you showing so much appreciation for my music and for.
She's amazing.
She is. And she really is. And I'm thankful. I'm very thankful. But yeah, like I said, the universe is a perfect orchestrator, and this is the way it was supposed to happen, unfold. And
when you pay attention to it, right? There's a part. So in my book, look at the clock tower when you get the book. On the clock, it says 555. 555 is a number of change. It's a synchronicity, right? And in numerology, that consistently has been the number of change. So I intentionally put that in there because he's looking up at the giants at that time at 555, the number of change. And I see signs and symbols and things in the world that, like you said, it gets to the point you're not surprised anymore. You trust it so much that you follow it because you know that it indicates that you're on the right path. And I think this is the confusing part, is people think I need to know from A to Z how to get there. Like, what steps do I take? Where do I go? And there's so many unknowns in between. Like for you, I would imagine there wasn't a clear path when you stepped out. It wasn't a straight line to where you are today. Is that true?
No. Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you touched on that point, because a lot of people, even including myself, didn't know what to do. But the key is follow your passion. Everybody has that inner voice. Follow your creativity. Follow something, whether it be cooking, drawing, whatever. I can name a whole lot of things, but just take steps in that direction. And once you start doing that, you'll see this momentum, and these steps will illuminate, and you don't have to know the next step. The universe will work it out for you. It'll just start causing these synchronicities and coincidences, and just, and even when it doesn't move at the pace that you would like it to, don't get impatient. Resilience, just patience, resilience, and flow. Just non-attachment to the outcome, but at the same time, setting your intentions to where you want to be, and knowing, having that belief, that faith that this is what you're called to do. And within this, everything within, the universal laws, it has your faith. Is it in your favor? And at the same time, don't compare yourself to anyone. Don't compare yourself only to your own self as, okay, I want to do better at this today. Make improvements, but don't compare yourself to anybody else's journey.
Yeah, man, all these things that we're talking about, the comparison, that's come up twice in the tribe today. I think I mentioned it to somebody, and then somebody posted about comparison, how it kills that creativity, it kills motivation, joy. It's the killer of joy, I think is what it was. Setting your intentions and trusting that all that you need for that will be provided. And it's not up to us to see the path necessarily. It's up to us to just step, to get out there and just keep stepping every day, right? To write music, if you have a thought and inspiration, to just put it on paper. And it's not about doing it right. It's about capturing it. And then eventually you'll fine tune it. Like you said, you fine tune it. You get better and better at fine tuning.
It's a continuous process. People think that, they're going to get to this place where now they can just sit back and everything else. I mean, there'll be times that you can sit back and relax and gather your thoughts and let your mind and body heal. But it's a continuous process, like what I'm doing. I continuously, purposely put myself in places where I'm receiving positive feedback and energy and lessons and feeding. I'm taking control of what as best I can in feeding my own mind, instead of allowing the world to feed my mind, with media or what everybody else is saying or whatever, unless it's something that's congruent with my inner peace. I try to pretty much, monitor, what I feed myself.
I think
so not only the food that I feed my body, but the information and the energy that I'm feeding my mind.
Yeah, that's critical, because what goes in ends up coming out, or attracting into your space, like you had talked about earlier. If you surround yourself with negative things, you probably get negative results.
Yes.
Put around you what you want. If you want negative things, I guess you could surround yourself with a bunch of negativity. But if you want positivity, if you want good things in life, bring it in, surround yourself with it, attract it. I love it.
Exactly. And there are, there's certain times in life where, you're on the job that you can't always completely isolate yourself from around, but you can, from around unwanted behavior or words or whatever, but you can be the observer and understand, not engage in certain things and learn from certain things. And just being aware. When you're aware, that's when, when these positive flows and changes continue to happen. When you're just aware, like, okay, I'm aware that this is going on. I'm aware that, I may be feeling these feelings today. I'm aware that they're talking about this today. Just being aware instead of just accepting any old thing,
Apparently what you're doing is working, because look, your music feeds my mind. You have people out there that are listening, and more every day that are gaining something from you, living into your giant potential and moving forward, and being that work in process as you're going along. And that's amazing, man. I applaud you for doing that.
Thank you.
You know what's really cool about this is, a couple of days ago, I didn't even know there was a guy named Bryon Smith, right? and if I were setting my goals, you wouldn't have even come across my mind as somebody that I would be like, I need to interview Bryon Smith. I didn't even know you. Don't even have an idea that you're even a human on this earth at the same time as me, right? And here you follow that intuition. You keep stepping, and I could say that about every guest that we've had, that I couldn't have seen any of you being on my show in the future. Like, I couldn't have predicted that future, but the stepping reveals the path. It reveals the things we need to do. And it's like,
it's interesting, the intersection, like, we move forward, you move forward, we move forward, pink. somewhere down the line, we run into each other
at the intersection, like you said. Yeah, and I applaud you too for you two gentlemen for just embracing the process and just trusting the flow instead of just and even taking the time to when like when Shauna Lee told you about me, even taking the time to say, because you could have ignored it and say, I get it, but you actually, looked into it, and I appreciate that, and it's because you did that I'm here talking.
Yeah.
With, yeah.
We're glad you're a human on the earth, Luke.
So let me ask you this, because a lot of people struggle. They think, well, successful people don't struggle. They think they've got it figured out. They don't have anxiety. They got plenty of money. They got their families all taken care of. We have this imagination that everything's good, right? And I know through my journey that I've struggled with anxiety. I've struggled with loneliness. I've struggled with depression. These things come up as you're in the journey. And so my question for you would be, how do you manage that? What do you do? What are some tools that you use to kind of work through that when it comes up?
Yes, and you're absolutely right. I've been, a majority of my life been overcoming anxiety and depression, and sometimes it hits me, worse at times when I have a mind at times that is hard to turn off. It's always wanting to grasp and think about something, and see things through, especially when I have a goal. But just like I said, just being that observer that instead of denying it, like just knowing like Bryon, this is a feeling that you're feeling right now. This isn't you. And just and just trying to gear my mind towards the outcome, like everything is working out for my highest good no matter what. And just the self-talk and just filling my mind with positivity. I might listen to some affirmations for a while just to kind of drown out, the unwanted energy. I might go on, I might read your book, just to help balance that. Like I said, it's I have to do it daily to help myself, and just saying positive things to myself and engaging in dialogues like this. This is therapeutic. Yeah. That's why I say it's a process daily. Like you eat daily, you bathe daily, you work on your mind daily. You want to speak positive things to yourself daily. You want to observe negativity because it's there. You don't want to deny it. It's there. Night and dark is there. So, you appreciate. Yeah.
I want to highlight something here. I'm going to make a point. So hang with me as I do this. How much are we paying you to be on this show?
I think the contract said about 1.5 million.
Yeah, that's
hugs. Right. 1.5 million hugs. It's in the fine print.
You're paying me with love, kindness.
Yeah,
man, something that's worth more than money to me.
Yes. So in this, if somebody's coming along and they're like, well, if only I could hire a coach, if I could talk to somebody, I just don't have the money to pay for a coach. And I've gotten more coaching through these interviews just by asking people questions. Before these shows, I would go to lunch with people and just buy them lunch, and they would just share all their secrets. They're not really secrets. They would just tell me all the things that worked for them in their life, and they would just share. And so there's really no limitation. I think that's what I want to point out, is that you have access to a library called the internet that has never been available in history. It stores more information. More information is uploaded daily than existed up until I think 2012, from the beginning of time. All the history that was available to all these kings and rulers and everything, every day, that amount of information is uploaded. I mean, it's unreal how much is available to us. People are available to us. Now we can talk to people in Australia and the UK. I didn't have that when I was a teenager. That wasn't available to me. Absolutely. And so the limitations that we put on our growth, and that's why I'm saying that, and 1.5 million sounds like a good contract. Let's do it. So, is that there's no limitations outside of the ones that we create. There's no limitations to who we can access, to who we can learn from. And if you can't get them in person, they write books. And so I'm listening to books constantly. It's like there's no reason for us to not access the information other than a choice that, or a belief that we can't.
Yes, in the mindset. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get out. I always like to say you got to get out of you have to get out of your own way.
Yeah. Perfect.
And like you said, that it's so amazing that I wanted to elaborate on what you just said. It's so amazing that we basically have a library in the palm of our hand. Now, not saying that everything that you might look up, the first thing you see, you have to believe, but you definitely have the ability to scratch and research and look further and further and into things, and until you're satisfied, until it sits right with you. Because everything that sits right with me and resonates with me doesn't necessarily have to resonate with you. But at the same time, if we're still in the common goal of helping people in love and respect and appreciation and reaching towards our higher self, we're going to have some things in common. We definitely have some common ground.
And I hear you as you listen. I hear you listening. I hear it in the words that you use, and when you have a dialogue like that, where you can go back and forth and hear each other. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, because a lot of times all we hear is our opinion of what's going on. And that gets in the way of us hearing what's actually going on or what's actually available to us, because our perspective or our opinion decides what we see. And so when it's like you talk about opening up, like I'll open up whatever comes. I'll take information from wherever it comes. I've had clients in my business where I'll be sitting with them. This was doing RV finance, and I'm sitting with them, and here's a guy that works at the prison for 30 years. He's a guard, in the world's eyes. You wouldn't say, wow, that guy's famous or anything like that. But this is a highly successful person in what he does. And if I closed off and said, there's nothing to learn from this guy, I would have missed out on an opportunity to learn from him, because he taught me about prisoners and the mindset and drugs and all these things that occur in prison. And he had this understanding of it that I probably will never get, because he's in that all the time. And it was so interesting to hear him just speak about it.
Yeah, that's the field that my wife is in. Also, the corrections industry.
Yeah. And I'd imagine there's a possibility of learning so much in that environment. As hard as that environment seems, to me, it seems like it might be hard emotionally and mentally. But there's an opportunity to learn from it.
Opportunities, absolutely, lots of opportunities each day. Yeah, to be able to learn things even about yourself from dealing with an array of personalities and different people. Yeah.
I think everybody has wisdom in them. There's some people that don't know it yet, but man, I think you could stop anybody on the street and have a conversation with them, and it would blow your mind what they know. I think it would blow your mind.
Yeah, I get a lot of flack back even from my wife, because she says I talk to everybody as if I know him. I don't even know that guy, but I'm always interested to know what people know, especially if you can read people's energy, like they want to talk to you for a second, or they give you a smile. Hey, how you doing? That way you don't just you talk to people. A lot of times people are afraid to talk, or I see people walking around, and I have to correct myself at times with this pressing look on their face. They're all wound up into whatever they got going. And sometimes just you can break that up if you sit and just talk a minute. That right there is therapeutic. A lot of people don't get things out, vent things. Not saying you got to tell people about your whole life, but just having a short discussion about something positive, or can help just make you feel better. Just for a second.
That's awesome. I mean, I hear your wife saying you don't even know them. Well, I do now. Right?
That's somebody else in the world that I left a positive impression on me, and I left a positive mark on them. So They might recognize and see me one day and say, hey, that's that guy I had that nice little talk with in the grocery store aisle, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
love
a guy that likes to talk to people, you know?
what I like about what you're doing too is I can hear this transformation from before where you did it for surface attention. You did what was popular. You tried to fit in, and now you're not concerned about that. You're being you. You're authentically being kind to people because that's how you want to show up in the world, and it shows up different. You can tell when somebody's faking it. I can feel it energetically. That is not real. Like I can see right through it.
Yes, I had the same conversation with my wife yesterday. We were talking about, you know, that there's certain people that have come into my experience and they're trying to really figure out, you know, how it is, even on the level that I'm at, how I'm, you know, getting all this, you know, this not attention, well, attention and just connection and things of that nature. And it's because people know if you're being authentic and if you're just out there. And that's not saying there's nothing wrong with just being out there for numbers or whatever you want to do. Sure. I mean, if that's your lane, but I'm in the business of helping people and helping myself, the self-help growth, you know. So I try to be as authentic and genuine as possible, you know, because like you were saying earlier, a lot of times people think that when you're motivational person or whatever, that nothing happens to you. It's because of the adversities that I'm going through, even still, the things I'm overcoming that continues to strengthen me, and I'm able to share and pour out from that. From, you know, when I overcome certain things, okay, now I have another testimony to share. It's not like, okay, I'm already sitting at the top of the mountain and nothing can touch me now. That's unrealistic, you know. And unless
you're Ryan Forrest, that guy never has issues.
Never.
No.
I had learning issues today, and I figured, you know, like I'm just.
We all have issues, and you know, you can learn to work with those issues or against them. You can allow those issues to take you over, or you can use those as opportunities to propel you, you know, further, or to just, like I said, or just look at them as something to observe, like that they're not part of you. Like, okay, this feeling that I'm having today, it's just a feeling. This is a feeling, and it's just a passing feeling. It's just, that's all it is. Okay, so I'm observing it. Boom, I'm learning from it.
My coach Nick Smith had the same talk with me about an hour and a half ago.
You have the best coaching arrangement, man.
Yeah. I do. Nick paid for dinner too, so I got food for free, coaching for free, a friend for free. I met you for free. And you told me the same thing. You reaffirmed exactly what Nick had just said, but the advice there is amazing, because even when you make mistakes, even when you screw up big time, which I did, you know, and I've gone through some stuff. I like what you said, to let that be, and that, you know, let that feeling pass and move forward and learn from it and try again.
That's not who you are. You know, I mean, you know, your experiences are experiences. They're not who you are. They're not who, you know, that's not who you are. Those are just experiences. They're positive and negative. They're just flowing. They're just flowing, you know, and we choose to want to gear ourselves more towards the positive, but I'm not so attached to positivity that I'm going to let anything that's negative, you know, take me under the water and keep me there. You know, I get rattled just like everybody else. I get rattled, you know, but at the same time, that's when my mind kicks in. Okay, so how can I overcome this? How can I get through this? What's the solution? Is there something I can do that can help this at this point in time? Let me focus on right now. You know, don't try to add everything else and crash it in at the same time. Think about yesterday. Oh, I messed up that day, or have too much anxiety about the future. Let me just think about what can I do right now at this moment. This is the only time that's really promised to us, is right now. I mean, you know, so.
I shared a concept with Ryan from my book, The Art of Accomplishment, called Salmonic Action. We've talked about it several times, but when things get rough, and you've got that rush of everything that could go wrong going around you. You try and predict the future, and you're trying to see this and that. Salmonic action it's based on the salmon, the fish, right? Salmon can sit perfectly still in rough waters. They won't move. And so when danger comes or there's an opportunity, they move forward at lightning speed. They wait for the opportunity and then they move. But what most people do is they feel that rush come around them and they start floating downstream. They start going with it and they get engulfed by it and it takes over their life. And so salmonic action, and this is a made up term, maybe it'll catch on one day here, but it just means sitting still and let it play out. And then as it plays out, watch for the opportunity.
Wow.
Look at what you need to do next, because I like what you said, that what's the solution? It's hard to see the solution when you're tumbling downstream, right? When you get strung up in those emotions and you're going backward, it's really hard to see a solution. So if you can hold firm and just let it rush around you, feel that emotion, feel that intensity, and then you'll see the opportunity when it's ready, and then strike, right? Just go. And so,
yeah, oftentimes we allow fear and what could go wrong, to saturate our thoughts and continue to replay. And a lot of times it's based on maybe some past things that have happened. So we're saying, this looks like that.
Yeah.
That happened then. So this is what's going to happen again, and it could, but most of the time it doesn't. It's not the same thing, because scenarios are unique. We're constantly, having different experiences. We're not just doing the same thing, unless you're just thinking the same way and staying and not being open. But you gotta have an element of non-attachment and surrender, and and awareness. It's a combination of all that to keep yourself, like you said, calm in rough waters.
Yeah, I think when you read the book, you're gonna see your whole life story flash before you in this story. Your journey is that book. Every giant's journey that we've interviewed is in that book. Every person that's a part of the tribe is in that book. And it's the process we all go through. It's that you're born in a certain environment. You don't even know what you don't know. You have an awakening to it. You step out on a path blindly, trusting that you're going the right way. You outgrow your past life and you can't go backward and eat pea soup anymore. And then you start standing on the shoulders of giants and seeing more and more perspectives that you never saw before. And you grow in ways you never expected. And, I really enjoy this conversation because it's one more view that confirms what we're seeing in the world. It's one more person that's saying, well, my journey was that journey too. That's how my journey is. And it demonstrates, it mirrors for those that are watching, this is the journey that you're going to go on. And it's not easy. There are times you're going to want to quit. There's times where you're going to really suffer. It's going to be hard. But as soon as you trust that you have a masterpiece within you, you have something to give to this world, and you start to trust that and just step. Don't look for the path, just step, and the path will reveal itself. Then you get to do things like what you're doing. You get to have conversations with people around the world. If that's what you want to create, it might not be that, but it starts to open up, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And everybody has, like you said, that unique something inside of them. And you have people that say they don't. Well, if you keep telling yourself you don't, then obviously nothing's going to come into fruition from you saying that, you don't have any gifts or talents to share. Everybody does. There's some interest. It's like, okay, you're not a rock, so you have some interest, and that's the start right there. What are you interested in? Okay. And then if you say you're not any good at it, okay, well, get good at it. How do you get good at something? Doing it.
Yeah.
Reading, start watching other people that do that same thing, and then watch them, and then develop your own uniqueness in that same arena.
Somebody told me once that you have to suck long enough to get good at something. And, you might suck at it at the beginning. I'm sure the first time you start thinking about music, it wasn't perfect, and you're like, ugh, that needs a little work. And then you've worked on your craft over the years,
I still make songs like that I
like, that sucks.
and I say, oh man, I could have did that better, or I really don't like the way I sound right there. But, sometimes we can be overly critical, especially with ourselves. But at the same time, I'm learning more and more to just keep it flowing. Okay, whatever I didn't do on this song, I'll do it on the next one. But I'm going to put that out because my passion is still with it. Yes, I could have did better, but I also could have done worse. So what is it going to gain me to sit there? I mean, yeah, critique yourself, but to sit there and stay in that place of condemning yourself, that's not going to get me anywhere. So just learn. Okay, I'll do it better next time. Okay, and just keep the flow, keep going.
It's interesting, years down the road as you're pushing forward to look back and go, whoa, because the difference, might not feel like it because you're living, going day to day, little step by little step, but the difference you look back over time, and sometimes it's incredible.
Yeah,
it is. I look at it as building a wall brick by brick, and then you got a wall. The next thing you know, you got 2 walls, and you got 4 walls, and you got part of a roof, and pretty soon you got a house, then you got a building. You just every day just do something to move you in the direction that you're trying to go in. Do something one brick at a time, just like you said. And then you look back, wow, I covered a lot of ground. And then that you celebrate your little victories,
I think there's song lyrics here inside this. You're gonna have to go back, and then we'll have to co-collaborate on something.
I know. I'm gonna have to add you guys to write a song and add you guys both to the publishing and everything. So we come up with lyrics to a song, and I got to give you guys both credit.
It's in here somewhere. I know it is.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So if we're to wrap up here, so one thing first is follow Lute, Bryon, however you want to call him. He goes by both, but Lute is the name that you go by in the world, right?
Yeah, Lute Bryon Smith. It's a nickname that my peers came up with, friends, childhood friends, because I've told this story many a times, but some of you probably haven't heard it. But
heard it.
Yeah. When I was younger, I always had this mentality, just little businessman, entrepreneurial mentality. So I would have like a little car washing business and a little lawn mowing business, paper route. And, people saw me doing that and they start calling me Lute, like Lute as in money. Like, oh, you've always got something going on. And people took notice that, okay, this guy, he's not going to just sit still and wait for an opportunity. He's going to create it. So I used the resources I had,
I'm going to put this up here. So if you're not following him, follow him. Go to his website, listen to his music. It's great. It's awesome, man. I want to put it on my phone. Are you on Amazon or any of the other big sites? Or I see on
Yes. I'm on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, most of the major streaming services. You just type in Lute Bryon Smith, and I'm the only one. Even if you Google my name, I have the only name that's Lute Bryon Smith, and spelled Bryon like that too, Bryon. So you can find me out there.
Nick has like the whitest name on planet Earth, man. Like there's like 9,442 Nicholas T. Smiths
in my city. In my city.
There's lots of Lutes out there. If you just type in Lute, like you go to iTunes or Apple Music, there's lots of Lutes, Loot alone, but no Lute Bryon Smith like me. Yeah. That's just, I'm the only one.
There's no one like you. And that message applies to everybody watching. There is nobody like
everybody's you. Uniquely exquisite.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Any other wisdom that you'd want to share tonight?
No, I just want to express my appreciation and love and gratitude to you guys, man, for talking and taking your time out of your lives, because time to me is the most valuable, valuable asset. You can never get it back, that moment in time. And I just appreciate you two spending time with me and listening to what I have to say, and also giving me some insights and perspectives and wisdoms and helping me grow. And I just appreciate it. And everybody that's here listening or will listen later, I just want to express my love and appreciation.
That's awesome. I feel the same. Thank you. Like I've learned a lot from you tonight, and this will be through this, through the tribe and through Wake Up with Giants and on our YouTube channel. And it's inspiring because it's just, like I said, it's another view of the same journey that we all get to go on when we're creating. And so I appreciate you taking your time to be here with us. And so everybody that's watching, Ryan, did you have any other thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I just, like, again, every week I say this, it's so interesting to see, all these giants following their own journey. They all have to go down their own path.
Yeah.
That's how the similarities are. But each one of them turn around and lifting other people up. You being here today, Lute, it's going to help somebody else that's sitting at home going, God, I don't know if I can, or maybe rephrasing it and reframing it, going, what are the possibilities? Lute said it's possible. Start believing in themselves, and then going down that road, going down that journey, and seeing what's possible. And there's so much possible.
Yeah, I'm sure if I could say one more thing, I'm sure that people have heard this, and I have many times in your life, and this will sound familiar to you. People that are in certain, movie stars, singers, or whatever that's in the public eye will say, if I can do it, you can. And I have to say that too, from where I came from to even right now. I know I'm not the most famous guy in the world, but even doing what I'm doing now and manifesting the things in my life right now, and just, it's just surreal. It's awesome. Yeah. And the people I'm connecting with, I wouldn't have never imagined it in a million years. So I know if I can come from a place of, meager beginnings, humble beginnings, and just elevate, and just changing my mindset, just the world's just opening up, and it's going to continue to do so. And I know this. I don't hope. I know it. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, it is. It's happening now. So, there's no doubt.
Right. So for you that are watching, it just is. It just is. It already is within you. So start stepping into it. You're all giants. You're working your way through some of the things, like you're cleaning off some of the stuff that doesn't belong anymore. And so, as you think about the show, if you go back and listen again, reflect on other ways that you can hear the same episode, because I can go back through this a couple of times and hear different things every time. So make it a giant day. Continue being giants in the world. Thanks for being a part of our journey, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.